In this video, we will see how to add a background with compositing. So here we have a little scene that I did prepare. Okay, I did just use this demo file over here. Okay, under cycles here, you have here the Nishita Sky demo. So I did use the assets that are in this file and add a few things. I did just add some mountains into the background and a droid that I did create that I did show you already. So this is basically the setup I use. So here you see basically how it looks like. Okay, this one is a little too little here. Maybe we might scale it up and put it over there. Okay, will it work well with GX and GY? Okay, to put it far, a little more far here. Yes, looks better already. Okay, good. So just to have something in the background here. So here we have our basic setup to make our rendering. And here what we have in rendered view is this. Okay, so without all the lines and the armature and everything, we have something like this. So a kind of dark light, okay, kind of night setup, just with a simple here, just with simple lights here, a sun and a few other lights that create this kind of blue background here, blue backlight over there. Okay, so we have this kind of setup, and to start compositing we just would like to add a background here. Okay, and to start compositing we need to make a render first. So let's go and make a render with F12. I just use basic here setup for cycles here with render as 64 to have something quick. Maybe I can increase that to have better resolution in the end, better details, but let's make the render first. Okay, so we'll make the render. We can see that everything is working fine. I did just add a little of mist already with a cube with some volume information there, and now I have this kind of render and I would like to composite that. So let's go with this and let's jump into compositing over there. Okay, so what we have here is a render layer and a composite. It's a little like all the node setup that we did see during the training. So for the shader and everything, so when you make Control Shift click, you have a viewer node and it appears into the backdrop here if you have a render. Okay, so here I made my render and it appears into the background. Honestly, I don't like using that much that background because it makes a lot of information here and you have the nodes above the image and everything. I don't like it that much. So what I use usually here is the image editor here and go into the viewer node. Like this, I have my image that will appear directly here. And here we don't use the backdrop anymore, we just use the nodes. So we'll use the nodes here and the back and the viewer node over there. Like this, we are sure that we can see directly what we are doing. So basically how it works compositing, you add some nodes between this and the final compositing. Okay, so for example, we could add here a color, adjust, maybe use saturation value. And in that case here, if I change the view, okay, with Ctrl Shift V, I can see the result directly and showing what's happening. Okay, so it's a basic setup and you can make adjustments very easily with that. So what I will do for this, I will just add a background. I did download the background into Pexel, so pexel.com. Okay, it's very good to find some free images to search for some background or some skies or nice things like this. So I have this image here. I will open this image this one, okay? So this image looks like this, and I would like to use the sky of this image to work with. So let's go with this. And the first thing that we need to do, you can just with Shift A input here an image, okay, or image sequence or image, or as you want, or you can just click and drag and add this here. With Control Shift click, you will have the result into the viewer, just like that, okay? So now we switch from one to another, and the first thing we notice is that the scale of the image is not the same at all. Okay, so we would like to match that, and for match this, we just have a scale node. Okay, into the transform here, you have the scale, and you just go into the image, and here you use the render size. Like this, in the end of this, you will have the same scale, okay, for your image. So we'll have the same scale for this and the same scale for this. Now we just want to add the background into that. So let's go with this. And for this, we will use an alpha over. The alpha over, as it says, it's add something into the alpha of your image, okay? So basically you put the image here, and you can see that into the render layer, you have the alpha here. So if you make a Control Shift click again on this, you will see the alpha and how it looks here. So it looks like this now, okay? You have the depth as well, the noisy image. So let's go with that. And we will plug this alpha as a factor, and we will plug this one into here. So like this, what we have is this now. What is good with this kind of setup is that you can manage the one, this one or the other if you need. So let's add, let's say, for example, a color. I like to manage things with color. Where is the curve? Adjust here to RGB curves. So let's manage this with your RGB curve, for example. So you can add RGB curve into that one and an RGB curve into that one as well. So let's add another one here, okay? Not into the factor, but into the color. Sorry for that. Yeah, into the color. Good. And we put the composite in the end, like that. So what is good with this is that I can manage the background directly, okay, if I need to. So something like that might be okay. Good. And I can manage the colors. Maybe I want a little less red here, so I can put a little less red. And like this, it will match a little more the color of what we have here, for example, okay, for the background. And the same here, maybe I would like something a little more reddish. So let's go there and increase the color here and match this for both. Okay, so now we have something that match better the result. And you can add whatever node you want here. So for example, here I did use RGB curve, but everything that is inside the adjust here will help you a lot to manage this. So you have the exposure, you have the gamma, you have the hue correct, you have the hue saturation value, the RGB curves, we did see that, the color balance, the brightness, the contrast, a lot of things here that you can play with. Everything like in Photoshop actually, that you can manage the colors with that, okay? So for this, it's already a good result, and we have already something interesting into this. Okay, so let's continue for that, and we might play a little with this. I don't want any animation, sorry for that. I come back to the layout here. Yeah, we had some animation there, but I just want the frame one here. Okay, come back to compositing. Maybe I would like something a little less saturated for the sky, for example. So what I can do in that case, I just add another node here. So you can see here an adjust, and we will use hue saturation value over there. And like this, we can manage the saturation if needed. You can see that now maybe 0.9, we will have something that match a little better, okay? So, and then after you just play with the background and the color of this to match as much as possible what you want. But honestly, we have something that looks already pretty cool. And we will continue this into the next video. So it will be short videos, little videos just like this, to can show you how you can improve your image and finish with a nice render that you can share to the public. So let's go with this, and into the next video we will see how to add some mist into your render with compositing. We did add a little of mist already with the volumes, but we will see that we can add more mist into our render just with the compositing. So we'll use that into the next video.